Hey everybody, Sarah Grillo here. So I've gotten a few requests for people to talk about my personal background. What I can tell you is that I went to Harvard. That was probably the beginning of a lot of difficulties for me. And while everybody would have thought it was such a blessing, I really don't think it was, because what it did was it put a lot of unfair expectations on me. And coming from where I came from, and I'll fault myself for this now. I'll take responsibility for this. I think you have to really take responsibility if you want to be successful, because when you take responsibility for your own actions, you take control. But when I was 21 and 22 years old, I took bad actions, I believe, in terms of my career that did not benefit me, because I did not have really good knowledge. I didn't have good mentorship. Again, my fault for not getting it. But keep in mind, the internet wasn't what it was when I was in college. It was something that, like we had email, and I don't know. I mean, I don't have a great recollection of the tons of internet searches that I did to get information. So what I'm saying is, for all of you millennials right now that are out there, this is a total advantage. I didn't have this advantage, and information is power, knowledge is power. I didn't have that. So what I did was I majored in English because I was at Harvard and it was really competitive. And although I do believe that communication and speaking and writing and reading are my biggest strengths, and I'll get to that in a few minutes about what I'm doing right now with that, but I do feel like that is absolutely my biggest talent in life. But still, it was pretty tough, being at Harvard. I felt like I needed to do something high-powered, and so I had this interest in investment management. The stock market, because that was, kind of what everybody else was interested in. A lot of other people, there were all these, people that were really crazy about management consulting and iBanking. And I guess it was good. I took inspiration from that, and I became very inspired by the ticker tape I used to see sometimes in Boston when I was walking around. And I got a job, an internship at Fidelity, and then I got an internship at Merrill during the summers, and then but this was all kind of in personal finance. It wasn't in stock market and stock selection and stuff like that. I wasn't an analyst. And then after that at JP Morgan, I got a job at JP Morgan, again, on the sales and marketing side of things. Did really well there, actually. As I said, I'm a talented writer, and I actually at a very young age was making a lot of money and had a lot of career success. But I just was feeling I still had this desire, I wanted to be an investment analyst. So I took CFA Level 1 while I was in this sales and marketing role. You know the story about CFA Level 1 for me, where everybody told me I couldn't succeed, put me down a lot, but I still overcame it. And then I moved to the buy side. I got this role at a boutique firm, was there a couple years, and just was kind of feeling like it was maybe not, I don't know. I wanted to do something more high powered. I think it's because I had this kind of Harvard expectations. I had to be high powered like everybody else was high powered from Harvard. So then I went and I worked at Lehman. Well, that was the biggest mistake of my whole career, because I got laid off about a year later. The work just wasn't right for me. It was all this kind of Viva, Excel modeling on really heavy technical. Not my strength at all, but I did make a lot of money at that. Anyway, so I got downsized, and then I was sitting there, one day, and just realized that there were thousands of people I was competing with, and I almost had a nervous breakdown over it, actually. And it was good though, in a way, because anytime you're feeling stressed, you want to get somewhere and then there's something in the way, you always have to look at what is the source of the stress, right? And so I guess I didn't even realize it at that point, but what I think was calling me was that something else was calling me. Sometimes when there's that stress or that blockage or that obstacle, it's because there's a something in your way that you can overcome. But sometimes also you're feeling this stress of running right into the obstacle because there's something in your way that maybe you're not bound to overcome. Maybe you're not meant to overcome it. Maybe there's a different way to go. And I think that is really where I was being pulled at that point. So I became an entrepreneur and started my own asset management company, and that worked well. Not awesome. I couldn't really get to the high level of success that I wanted to as an entrepreneur. So then I went and I worked in personal finance for somebody else, also in kind of a sales and marketing capacity. But then it just became too hard because with my work-life balance, I was, I had 2 children in 2 years. Anyone who's had 2 children in 2 years can maybe identify with that. If you can't, I just want you to imagine for a minute the stress of motherhood being, and like I have a great partner, Antonio and I are great together, but just with his work schedule, I'm the one that needed to be more flexible. And also, I'm the mother, and I just, even though, like, I wouldn't want to miss out on opportunities to be with my babies, when they're so little. And I mean, like, sometimes I hear women say, like, this one woman, she never sees her kids, and she's like, because she's got this big high-powered job, and she's like, well, I think it's really important to be there for them when they're older, when they're teenagers, and I'll make the change at that point. But for now, I'm okay with the nanny being the primary caretaker. And it's like, not that I'm judging her. Every woman can make their own decision, but for me, like, I would never be happy with that. I just would, I tried, but when I was at work, I was always so kind of homesick for them, and I would be so jealous of anybody that got, and I'm not a jealous person. Like, I'm happy and fulfilled and successful and like confident, and I'm not jealous, but I would in fact be jealous if like a relative of my own relatives or Antonio or anybody, if anybody got to be with my babies instead of me, I would just hate it, so I knew it wasn't right. I just felt in my heart like, maybe I should try to just go out on my own and be on my own and be able to call the shots and not have to worry about that. So here I am now, and for about over a year, I've actually become an extremely successful financial marketing, or not financial marketing, but just marketing consultant on my own, working a lot with the CFA charter holders, CFA candidates, and financial professionals that want to get to that next higher level in their career, kind of like doing what I did, the ones that want to get to a Lehman or get on the buy side or pass the CFA like I've done, giving them guidance about that. And that actually gives me great personal joy, and I've affected a lot of people positively. Very happy about that. Done this all on my own as an entrepreneur. I also advise businesses. I write blogs, and especially for financial companies and for financial advisors, I have a very, very strong skill set because of all my experience. Many financial marketing people are just, they're marketing people. Like, they haven't managed money, they haven't been entrepreneurs. So they can't really understand what a financial advisor goes through because they haven't been financial advisors. But I've been a financial advisor. So I'm so much more intelligent about, staying within FINRA compliance and helping my financial advisors to get out there and differentiate themselves by creating a customized brand. And it really has been, I would say, a blessing, because I feel like I've just really hit my stride and fallen into what it was that I was really meant to do in life, although not a traditional career path, not the equity analyst role that, I had always wanted to be and tried to be, and just was kind of feeling like it just came down to, when I had my children, it came down to how much satisfaction and money and fulfillment, and how much success are you really having for you having to be in the office from 7 in the morning until 7 at night. Like, I mean, for many women, it's worth it, right? Or for many people, it's worth it. But for me, I just was like, I think there's something that can offer me more for the time that I'm investing. And I mean, I'm so grateful for my children in so many ways, but I'm also grateful for being a mother in the sense that it has impacted me and it has made me think for the first time, you don't have unlimited time, Sarah. You don't have unlimited money to spend on your career and your business. You don't have unlimited time. You've got to be home by 5:30 to pick the babies up, and you may or may not get to do work remotely after that at night. So what are you going to do to maximize your results? What are you going to be most effective at in the 8 hours during the day when you're away from them? Because when you go to get them, you absolutely might not get more time. So that's something I just would really encourage all of you out there that are looking at your own careers, is to think about, like, what is the place where I can really like smash? Because right now I'm smashing. Like, I was average before, but I am elite now. And I mean, the results have shown it. The results have shown it. What my clients say, what my production says, what my results say, all of those things. And so that would just be my one piece of advice if you're finding out your own career path. Is the one like kind of thing you can take from mine is that, like, yes, determination and confidence and hard work and commitment, all of those you have to have. But there's also this thing that like not so many people talk about when they're trying to sell you on the CFA program or the MBA or the portfolio management career, and it's that it has to work for you. You know, like it really has to, because when it comes down to it, and one day it's going to come down to it, and it might be a recession where you get laid off, or it might be like me when you have kids, or it might be whatever it is. It might be like that they say to you, you have to take this CFA and you don't want to, right? It's eventually going to come down to something where it's fight or flight. And you want to get into the thing where you like know you're so awesome that it's not going to be flight. So that would be my advice, you know. What do you feel in your heart, but also what are you talented enough that you can get results that you still want to be committed, right? So I hope that this is helpful. Sorry for the long video, everybody, but thanks for visiting me. Thumbs up it if you like it. Bye.